So we have a small group, but very intimate.
In this group,
How
much have they learned already? What is
well,
this
in this
discussion?
group,
have they already pretty advanced, or?
No, we're still, this is our first potluck meal. So this is our first potluck meal. Can you hear me?
Shoot.
I wonder if it's us, Robert. Can you
Yeah,
check
now
it?
I can.
Well, it could be a Wi-Fi is coming and going. I don't know.
Okay. I'm so sorry, Dr. Fuhrman. I know your time is valuable. And this is our first potluck meal. And we're all, I would consider, would you guys consider yourself beginners, advanced? Beginners. So they're beginners, and they're all new fans of Dr. Joel Fuhrman. And the connection is unstable. Yeah.
Well, we just have to go with it while we can.
Okay. So everybody has a question. We are all having a conversation. Can you hear us, Dr. Fuhrman?
Take that as
I do. You want to have everybody, one person come up at a time and ask a question?
Yes. We have a couple of people who are diabetics, and many of them have your book called The End of Diabetes.
The end of life,
The end of
as we know it.
Great.
Are these motionless?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, he
So
won't be able to
you
see
know
it.
where it's at. You know, you want to walk it?
I'll
Okay.
see if I can.
See. So they have lots of questions for you, especially getting off of insulin. That seems to be one of the biggest questions that we had today. So because we know your time is valuable and we've been losing internet connection here, let's go ahead and get started. And Greg, would you like to be the first one to get started?
Sure.
This is Greg's first time at the HEAL Tribe meeting. So HEAL stands for Healthy Eating and Living.
Terrific.
Tribe. Okay? Go ahead.
Well, welcome, Dr. Fuhrman. And my question to you,
Thank you, Greg.
I am a recent, not really a diabetic, but I do have type 2 diabetes, and my ACL numbers were very high. And for about a month and a half now, I've been following all of the recommendations, and I've been walking on a daily basis 2 to 4 miles, getting my fair share of exercise, and I have gained 5 pounds, and I'm wondering why that is.
Have you been eating a vegetarian lifestyle?
If you're gaining weight, then your diet is off. Then you're not eating the right foods, and you've misinterpreted what's the right foods for a diabetic to eat, if that's what's happening. How much do you weigh now, by the way?
Right now, about 170.
And how tall are you?
5'8".
5'8". Okay. So at 5'8", your weight should be 145. To get rid of your diabetes, you have to lose about 30 pounds. And if you're not dropping 2 pounds a week, you're not eating properly. It doesn't matter how much exercise you do. You can't out-exercise your mouth. It's what you're putting in your mouth. If you're gaining weight, you're eating the wrong foods and you're eating the wrong type of diet. So you have to go in. So we have to do breakfast, lunch, and dinner and go through everything you're eating. And you tell me everything you put in your mouth over the last 3 days. So what's your typical, and because essentially the diet for the diabetes, for diabetic to get rid of it, is very simple. It's eating mostly raw vegetables, like a salad diet with vegetable bean soup. And you can have one fruit with each meal. So your lunch may be a big salad with some beans on top and a bowl of vegetable bean soup and one piece of fruit. And your dinner might be raw vegetables with an eggplant or a hummus dip, with some cooked green vegetables or wok Chinese vegetables in water with a couple of tablespoons of sauce, and with one piece of fruit for dessert, or a cup of berries. And breakfast could be a glass of juice or grapefruit or something like that. So you're obviously not following the program, or you wouldn't be gaining weight.
Okay, I've been having a lot of protein.
Why don't you tell me what you're eating for breakfast?
Breakfast.
Excuse me?
Breakfast will
Did you read my book, The End of Diabetes?
Did
you read my book, The End of Diabetes?
Yes.
Well, then I'm sorry
yet.
to be tough on you, but you shouldn't really be asking me a question if you haven't even read the book.
Well,
because you got to learn what's in the book first.
Yeah, this is his first time, and I encourage them to ask quick questions for you because this is, we're an intimate group and we're a small group, and they just purchased it, and I asked them to go first. So that was my bad, Dr. Fuhrman. But when he was talking during the table and around the table, that was a concern, and it's to, he's been doing this for how long?
A month and a half.
So,
And that this diet.
but
Yes.
what have you been doing?
And my normal diet.
He's not doing my diet.
That's
He's not
correct.
doing this. He's doing something else.
Yeah.
And he's gaining weight. And if he's doing what I wanted him to do, he'd be losing 2 pounds a week. And if he's not losing 2 pounds a week, he's not going to reverse his diabetes. He's getting worse. So whatever he's doing, it's the opposite of what he should be doing.
Okay. So next month,
Yes.
you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
We'll read your book and go from there.
Is that good?
Surely.
Okay. So I know that we're going to have another question. Okay. So, and as if you have a question that maybe you need expanding, then that would be great.
Okay.
Dr. Fuhrman, can you adjust your camera? Because we're getting half your face sometimes.
Am I too close to the screen?
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, that helps a lot. That helps a lot. You're getting a portion of your face cut off. You good?
We can see you. You look great. Don't worry about it. Don't bother with her.
Okay, Dr. Fuhrman.
We can see you.
We have Carol asking a question.
Hi. Okay, so I am
Karen?
Yes, I'm a diabetic on insulin. I'm on an insulin pump. And so my question to you is, how would I prevent low blood sugars in the middle of the night?
Before going to bed.
So what should I eat before I go to
You're
bed?
taking too much medication. You're taking too much medication.
I told them that's what you'd say.
Yeah.
If you're
Okay.
having low blood sugars, then
Yeah.
you're not following the program because you're over-medicating yourself. And if you're over-medicating yourself, you're inhibiting the weight loss. You should be moderately under-medicating yourself, so you should never have low blood sugars. It's okay to have high blood sugars, but it's never okay to have low blood sugars because when you over-medicate, you slow down the weight loss.
Okay, I'll just, even tonight, I'll make an
Are we
adjustment.
connected?
Yes.
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 Can you hear us?
How much insulin are you taking?
It's on a varied scale because it's on a insulin pump. So anyway, I'll adjust it tonight. Thank you.
It just says
Well-
it's unstable.
Well, Dr. Fuhrman, she's a type 1 diabetic.
So he wanted to know how much insulin.
She's a type 1?
Yes.
The connection is so poor, I can't make out what's going on.
Dr. Fuhrman, this hasn't happened before. I'm so sorry about that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm good. I'm
No,
good.
no. You asked a question about at night.
Yeah.
So you're thinking that if she changes her medication, she'll be okay?
Yeah. That's what he's saying.
Oh,
That's
wow,
what he
this
said.
is-
Well, I have to know what, yes, she's taking, her dose and the way she's giving the medication is not proper and it's too much. And she has to adjust the diet so she eats the same thing, the same amount of calories and the same type of foods every day. It could be broccoli, bok choy, or cabbage on different days, different foods, but it's the same type of green vegetable, it's the same amount of calories. You fix the amount of insulin, you don't keep changing it, you undershoot the insulin a little bit, and then you have to eat to keep your sugars in control with that amount of insulin. And that means that you are never going to have a low blood sugar because you're striving to keep your blood sugar low because you're going to try to eat less and eat right to keep it favorable with as little insulin as possible. Then
Perfect.
you don't have lows anymore.
Okay.
But Dr.
All right,
Fuhrman,
that's
if she's on a pump, do you administer your own?
I can adjust it.
So
Yeah.
what would be your suggestion?
She can adjust the pump.
Yeah.
Do you know
Yes.
what to adjust it to?
Yeah, I'll just gradually adjust it down a little bit.
So we have
Like 1 or 2 units, just.
So Carol, yeah, you okay? Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's the excess insulin that really is destructive to the lifespan of the type 1 diabetic. They have to use, when you're following a nutritarian diet, it enables you to use much less insulin, about half as much, without getting lows and without getting high.
Mm.
You
Good.
got to cut back your insulin use tremendously to follow this diet and not get lows anymore. And then you live your life so you don't get highs, and eat carefully so you don't get highs either.
Good.
So,
Good
Dr.
advice.
Fuhrman, can you address for us what we need to know as diabetics? People who are diabetics are told they always have to be on insulin. How long once you start following your protocol, will somebody need to start adjusting their medication?
Day one. If they don't adjust their medication day one, they're going to be hypoglycemic and in trouble. It's dangerous if they don't lower the medications the first day they start this.
So we have somebody else that's not here that his blood sugar levels are dropping to like 63 or 53?
62. I woke up.
62. And the doctor's not taking him off the insulin?
He's not on insulin. He's on orals, oral medication.
Okay, do you want to talk to him about it? Maybe he can give you some
Yeah,
advice.
no, he said modulate, keep the food consistent, and then adjust the medicine. If I understood it correctly.
Is that what did you hear why don't you ask the question?
Yeah, that's, we're trying to get his medicine adjusted. He's eating the food and then he's ended up with the blood sugar being too low and it's like waking him up in the middle of the night. So he woke up, he had like a 62. So he had to like go and get, a little bit of juice or something.
I can't hear.
Oh,
Okay.
so he had, the food was
I
on.
can't hear it, but by the way.
Okay.
Okay, hold on a second.
Sorry,
Dr. Fuhrman, can you hear me?
That's okay.
No. It's-
Yes, I can hear
Okay.
you now.
We are having a really bad time.
I couldn't hear anything she said, though.
What did he say?
You said I couldn't hear what you said.
So what she said is that they're adjusting the medication,
Yeah, but
but he's waking up in the middle of the night with 63 blood sugar levels. What do you suggest?
he's gonna say the medicine.
Get a new doctor. She's taking way too much insulin.
Yeah, it's what I got.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so Leanne has
They're
questions.
killing their patients with over-medicating them. They're just destructive to the patients by over-medicating them. They should follow the nutritarian diet and adjust their medication so they never get a blood sugar below 120.
Below 120?
Never below 120.
Well, ask.
So what is your, okay, we have a follow-up question.
Yeah, because he's waking up, he's like 92.
Okay, let's.
Because once they get a level of 110 or 100, the next day they could have 60 and pass out and smack their head on the sidewalk.
No, that's what I'm afraid of.
So you want to keep at
They
120?
got to cut their medications down then.
Okay.
The book, at the end of diabetes, it gives you specific instructions of how to reduce your insulin. So
Let's see.
it sounds like these people have not really studied the book.
Well,
He's on oral.
he's not on insulin, he's on oral medication. What kind of oral medication?
Invocana.
Invocana
And metformin.
and metformin.
So he continue on the metformin because metformin does not cause hypoglycemia, and he's got to discontinue the other medication.
Okay. I'll call the doctor.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay. So Leanne, you have a hunger question.
Oh, no, I'm not going to ask that one.
You're not gonna
I know,
ask
I think
the
I got, I
question?
think I got the answer. Hi,
Okay.
Dr. Fuhrman. It's a pleasure to meet you. And I have read your books.
Hi.
I've read The End of Dieting, and I am enjoying the cookbook, The End of Dieting cookbook, very much. And I had a few questions, if I may. The first question I have is, I would like to incorporate chia seeds into my diet. And it seems like no matter what small quantity I add, I get tremendous bloat. And I'm just wondering if it's futile. Should I give up on chia seeds?
Did you grind them first?
I grind them. And sometimes I soak them. Sometimes I grind them and soak them. And I'm adding them to my smoothie in the morning. And if I don't add the chia seeds, no bloat. I add the chia seeds, bloat. And I'm only
How much
putting
are you adding?
a teaspoon. Well, first I started a tablespoon, and that was tragic. So I learned my lesson. So I decreased it to a teaspoon, and it still bloats me. And I know that's what it is because that's the only thing that's different.
Okay. In the study where they used chia seeds and flax seeds to show that it reduced the death of from breast cancer by 71%. 71% reduction of breast cancer risk. Guess how much chia seeds or flax seeds they used in that study?
I'm guessing a small amount.
1/10 of a teaspoon.
Okay.
That means
Flaxseed I can do a tablespoon every day with no problem, but I do want to incorporate the chia as well. So
even what I'm saying to you is even 1/10 of a teaspoon is helpful for people.
Okay, all right.
So what you do is you titrate down to the level that's comfortable for you. If you try a half a teaspoon, if that's no good, try a quarter of a teaspoon. If that's no good, go to an eighth of a teaspoon.
Okay.
I can assure you, you'll find a level probably between a quarter and a half a teaspoon that'll be okay for you.
And should I grind it and soak it?
You don't have to soak it if it's going. Once it's ground, if it's going in the blender, you don't have to soak it. Because it'll just take up the water from the blender when it's blended.
Okay, I have 2 more questions. If I'll try to make them quick. I was born with really weird kneecaps. Both my kneecaps are very far off. I'm very bow-legged, and not bow-legged, knock-kneed. And now that I'm getting older, I'm developing arthritis underneath both my kneecaps, and I'm thinking that I can fix this.
Of course, you have.
I was thinking I could fix it through diet, eliminate the inflammation, but I don't think I can.
No, your feet are pronated in if you're knock-kneed. You need to wear an inner heel wedge and an arch support, and you probably need to wear the Morton's wedge as well. In other words, we have to look at your foot and put it in proper alignment so your weight is distributed on both medial condyles balanced. You're putting too much weight on the center of your knee, and the wear and tear is going to continue to cause osteoarthritis and wear on your knees. What I'm saying to you, you're not putting a high enough wedge to cant your shoes, so you're tilting your ankles up and out. So your feet are pronating in too far.
They are.
Right. So you need a bigger correction in the shoe. So what I would do here, I'm going to hold on a second.
Are you going to show us your abs again?
This is serious. Quit laughing.
Here it is. So I got it right here. I have a right inner heel wedge. You see this? It's an inner heel wedge. Can you see this? It's a wedge.
Yes.
Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay, it's thicker on this side, and it's thinner on this side. See this? It feathers down to nothing here, but it's thick on the outside. You put this on the middle border of your foot, and you put your arch support on top of it, and it lifts up the arch of your foot higher in that direction. Now I have a felt one too. Here's a felt inner heel wedge. You might, now, if I don't have my shoe, I don't have enough arch in my shoe. So if you're wearing an athletic shoe, you should buy something like Pinnacle Max. You should buy an orthotic called Pinnacle Max. I think it's called, and then you should put this under the inner heel wedge under the orthotic, and you may have to take the inner lining of the shoe and glue that in there too. We have to cant your foot so it's neutral. So if you want, take your shoes and socks off and stand up on the table. Let me look at your feet right now.
Oh, gosh.
She's not going to dance on the table, though.
Not this time. Well, I guess I should take my shoe off.
You know what? I'll do something better.
Shoes and your socks off.
I'm going to do something better.
I
You have to be barefoot.
barefoot.
You want you to take
I have.
You have to take the shoe off.
Okay, why don't you stand on the floor, and then I'll bring the camera to you.
Oh, okay.
No, this
I have good balance.
If she comes right to me.
I have.
Now you have to have your weight. You can't hold the foot like that. You have to have your weight on your feet.
Do you want
Stand with your weight on your feet.
You want both shoes off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with her feet, both feet on the ground, with her weight equally distributed.
I have very
But she's
high.
got to pull up her pants a little bit so I can see.
I have a very high arch and a very high instep, and my kneecaps are like way out here.
Do you see it?
Oh, I see. Wow. Let me look at that again. Let me look at those feet again.
See, they're
No, I
very-
can't see them for some reason. I'm looking at myself on the screen. What's going on here?
Oh, you must have to click those settings.
Oh, now I can see you. Now I see your toes. Okay.
Oh, now I
No,
can
she's not pronating in.
I have high arch and a high instep.
You go back, bring the camera further away from the feet. I can't, she's too close. If I'm looking at her toes, I can't see her legs and her feet. I'm only see her.
Sweet.
Yeah, okay, let me look at her. Now, that's right. Let me look up the leg now.
My knees are knocked.
No, they're not. They're not. It's not knock knee. Wow. Let me see. Go down. Let me look at the feet again. I was wrong. She's not pronated. She doesn't have knock knees.
But my
Yeah.
kneecaps are way, way to the side. I could show you.
Your kneecaps are lateral. They're way to the
Show
side,
you
right?
a gruesome picture that's on my phone of my kneecaps, and it looks like someone should take a hammer and knock them back into place. They're that bad.
Right, right. All right, so I was wrong. I was wrong about this thing. You don't need it. Your feet are not pronated in. I thought because you said your kneecaps are coming in, your kneecaps are out and your feet are, your arches are high. So it's not what I thought you have. So it's good I looked at it.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Fuhrman.
That means you still need an arch support, though, to add cushion to your foot. Your feet still need some cushioning, even more cushioning than you get in a regular athletic shoe. So you have to wear like a shoe that has some, like a Nike with an Air Max, an Air base. You can't wear hard, so you want to not hit hard in your legs when you walk because your arch is so high and your kneecaps are external. And then you probably need some type of, you should just do some type of pressure therapy, pressing your muscles around your knees and your calves and your thighs, that compression type massage to keep circulation going there well. You might even, so I'm not sure, your kneecaps are tracking wide. You may need some type of physical therapy or type of therapeutic exercises to have your knee, to strengthen the muscles, to keep your patella in the right alignment. So you might need to work with a therapist, a physical therapist.
I did physical therapy, two or three rounds of the physical therapy. These are my knees. Holy cow.
Wow.
I was probably born with them that way. They used to dislocate as a teenager, and that they haven't dislocated in a long while. But because of this weird alignment, it's just rubbing.
They're so weirdly aligned that you need to wear an appliance, like a knee strap to hold it in better. The cap is go so far out, you got to go to an orthopedist who's got to prescribe you a custom-made appliance that you wear on your knees that holds the cap in better. So when you stride, it's more normal. So you're right. Yeah, you showed me the x-rays. I'm not a specialist in this, but I think you need a specialist. You know what I mean?
So I need a specialist, not a good diet, because
right.
You need a good diet.
Well, the diet. I thought I could cure everything through diet. I've been a foodie my whole life. I've been a whole food girl for a very long time. I was very excited coming to this tribe group because I did not know that I shouldn't be eating oil. I shouldn't be eating salt. I was eating dairy. I stopped that. And I'm very, very happy to say that my husband has also joined me on our new journey. He works nights, so he can't come to these tribe meetings, but he has done wonderfully. He's also following your diet, and he lost 15 pounds.
Nice.
He's on. My question is I know this is a repeat question, but I wasn't here for the answer. The first night somebody asked you, I guess, whether he or she can get off statin drugs. My husband's cholesterol is very, very high, and he just went on statin drugs 4 weeks ago, and he's been on your diet for about 5 weeks. How long before he can go off the statin drugs, or should he have his doctor tell him that?
Well, he should have never started the statin drugs. He should have just been the diet first and see where his cholesterol ran after 6 to 8 weeks on the diet. So if he just started the statin drugs, he should have never started them. So at this point, I don't know whether he needs statin drugs or not, but the only way to know is to see where his LDL cholesterol runs on the program, on the diet. You follow me?
Yes, I do.
Do you know what that is, Lillian?
I don't. I really don't. I
don't know what is.
I don't. She was asking if I knew what his LDL cholesterol was, and I don't. I don't have a number, but I just know that his cholesterol is very, very high. So, but I'm sure it's lower now that he's lost 15 pounds.
Well, is he on a vegan nutritarian diet with no oil?
Yes. Okay. And it's a miracle that he even agreed to
oil.
Yeah, no oil, no meat, no dairy.
Right. Then his cholesterol will come down very low. So let's just check his cholesterol. He's only been taking it 5 weeks. It's not like he's in danger of just have a heart attack. I mean, I would just make believe he was never we could not take it yet. Check where the level is off the medication.
Yeah. How do you have your where do you go to have your cholesterol checked? But besides going to the doctor? I mean, how do we as mere mortals get our
We can show you a place to go in Merritt Island.
Then they'll give it
No
to
script
us?
needed.
Okay,
No
good.
script.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Thank you, Dr.
You're
Fuhrman.
welcome.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Anybody have another question? Because I'm going to ask a question on intermittent fasting. Is that good?
Go ahead.
Okay. So, Dr. Fuhrman, there was a question about when you should eat when you get up versus when you should eat before you go to bed. And so we were talking about intermittent fasting and throughout the day. Should you graze all day? Should you? So eating, there's a lot of school of thought. And I shared that you, Dr. Fuhrman, believe in intermittent fasting. And so can you give us a quick overview? Nobody else has any questions, but maybe something will come up as you speak to us.
Right. Your body is a machine that tries to heal and repair damage all the time and remove toxic waste products and to remove materials that can cause you to age and cause disease. And your body repairs itself and removes those aging promoters and the cancer promoters. It removes them in the non-feeding state. It doesn't repair and detoxify and heal when you're eating and digesting food. The longer you live your life not eating, the longer you live. If you keep eating all the time, you're not going to live very long. Now, the best time not to eat is when you're sleeping at night. The most important thing for longevity is not to go to sleep on a full stomach, but to finish digesting and go to sleep on an empty stomach. That means you have to finish your dinner 3 hours before you go to bed at night. The most important thing is not to eat after dinner before you go to bed. If you want to have a snack in the afternoon between lunch and dinner, not so terrible, but don't have a snack after dinner. When you're done eating dinner, clean the kitchen, go upstairs, clean your teeth, enjoy the rest of your night, and don't go near food again.
Yeah. Any suggestions for, we had some people say while we were eating that they're hungry all the time, even following a nutritarian lifestyle. And I shared that with you off the air one time that I felt like I'm hungry all the time. What is your advice for people who are hungry all the time?
Well, people don't know what hunger is. So they're hungry all the time means that their body is still toxic. So when they go into the catabolic phase of not eating, they start to feel shaky and weak and headachy and anxious, and they think that's hunger. So I would say to them, when you say you're hungry all the time, tell me what you feel when you think you're hungry. What does hunger feel like? That's the first question.
Yeah.
So who's the person that's hungry all the time? Let's see what hunger feels like for them.
Well, I will say that hunger feels like stomach pains. Anybody would like to share some of the feelings that I know that I think I eat mostly when I'm bored. And I think the bottom line is, Dr. Fuhrman, is that we just don't know what hunger feels like.
Right. What they're feeling is not hunger. They're feeling the efforts of the body to repair itself from prior damage, from their old diet. And when the non-feeding state, when the repair goes on, it's sometimes uncomfortable. If hunger is felt in the neck and the throat up here, it's not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It doesn't really want to, it's felt right here.
Yeah. So how does that feel? Because most of us Americans, we have somebody here from England. So we don't know what hunger feels like because we have so much access to food.
Exactly.
So,
they've chronically overate for so many years that it's going to take them some months to get back in touch with true hunger again.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but I would also like to add that that's not necessarily something, it's also how we've been taught, all these fad diets saying you must eat every 2 hours, you should never feel hungry, blah, 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 blah. So we've also been conditioned to overeat, Dr. Fuhrman. So with
That's
that
right.
in mind,
and I have to add that if you never feel hungry, you're chronically overeating and shortening your life. In other words, it's healthy to feel hunger. And if you're not feeling hungry, then you're overeating all the time. A healthy person feels hunger very frequently. I felt hungry this afternoon, and I went to the gym and exercised for an hour, and I came home, and I wasn't that hungry because I exercised out of my hunger. And then I came back again, I ate. The point I'm making is, I might even feel a little hungry before going to bed at night, but I'm just going to go to sleep anyway. if I don't feel, if you keep eating food all the time so you never feel hungry, then you're chronically overeating calories and shortening your life.
And we had talked about on the show a while ago, and it was how to promote longevity. And we listen to the experts tell us that oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. We listened to the experts saying you're supposed to eat every 2 hours. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And you talk about intermittent fasting. So, you have those school of thought that says you must eat every 2 hours. There's so many different things. So what is a tip for us if we're feeling hunger to kind of allow that hunger to pass, which is toxicity, but allow that hunger to pass? And at what point do we recognize it as hunger? Because we don't know what hunger is.
Well, the first thing you said, though, to start this conversation was that these experts are telling you to eat frequently and have breakfast as the most important meal. And I'm thinking to myself, why do you're putting people on your radio show that don't know what they're talking about.
No. That's not what I said. That's what we're hearing from the media. That's what we hear all the time. I only bring people on my show that promote a whole food plant-based diet. And once in a while, somebody smuggles in.
Absolutely. But you know that in every species of animal ever tested, from worms to baboons to gorillas to humans, the only thing ever proven to extend lifespan is moderate caloric restriction, is eating a little less calories. So if you really want to end, so we're talking here about that the data is overwhelmingly not controversial, that the more frequently you eat, the more calories you take in. The more frequently you eat, the more you accelerate aging. We have literally probably 1,000 studies that show that. I'm saying 1,000 studies that show the more frequently you eat and the more calories you eat, the shorter your life. And these people, and they're reading in the media, eat more food, eat more frequently, keep the food coming in all the time. We have the most overweight. So I guess the answer is the question, is what percent of the population is overweight, do people think?
Oh, 75 possibly?
No, the reason why you think it's 70, 75 is because the U.S. government uses a BMI of 25 as the demarcation line between overweight and normal. And all long-lived societies and all blue zones have BMIs below 23. If we use that demarcation line, then it classifies 89% of Americans are overweight.
Wow.
Now, if 89% of Americans are overweight, then that means 11% of Americans are not overweight. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right, let's look at the 11% that's not overweight right now, okay? Because most of those people, what I'm saying is 9 out of 11 of those people are a normal weight because they either smoke cigarettes or alcoholics, use drugs, have depression, anxiety, mental disorders, asthma, autoimmune diseases, occult cancers, digestive disorders, irritable bowel syndrome, or they smoke cigarettes. So, given the fact that more than 10% of our populations are smoke cigarettes and drink a lot of alcohol and have medical problems, the vast majority of people that are normal weight are normal weight because they're sick. If they were healthy, they'd be overweight eating American food. We have an entire, the point I'm making is our entire population is shoveling down way too many calories, right? While the media is telling people to keep eating all day long. It's the most utterly ridiculous thing in the world.
And they're also telling us to speed up our metabolism so we can eat more.
Right. It's like they want to sell you more food and sell you more drugs. Keep eating more, keep taking more drugs, and keep shoveling that food in all the time. And then speed up your metabolism so you can eat even more food. Maybe they could have those big gulps at McDonald's, those bigger sodas you can drink then now.
So breakfast, lunch, dinner, like how much
Okay.
time between or whatever.
So how much time between breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Dr. Fuhrman, was a question? Everybody's afraid to ask you questions now, by the way. I'm the spokesperson. You can chew my butt off. Okay. So Dr. Fuhrman, so what is the time between fasting, between meals? Or does it important? What I heard
No, it's not important.
At nighttime is what's the most important.
How do you know? how much food to eat at breakfast. How do you know how much food to eat at lunch? If I want to eat dinner at 5 o'clock, I eat too much for lunch, I'm not going to be hungry for dinner. If I want to be hungry for dinner, I have to eat a light enough lunch and wait long enough to get hungry. So for a lot of people, 2 meals a day is sufficient. Sometimes you have to eat a light breakfast and so you're hungry for lunch, and a light lunch, so you're hungry for dinner. So you want to give enough time between meals so you feel hungry, because hunger makes the food taste better. And hungry directs you to the exact amount of calories you should be. So I don't really care how much hours are between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I care that you don't overeat, and I care that the how should we say, the window between the end of dinner and the start of breakfast is at least 13 hours. Did you follow that?
I know that everybody went, cool. I'm just interpreting. They went,
The 13-hour thing?
I think we all went into convulsions right now.
The wheel study.
A little bit inside of me. Huh?
There was a study on this called the wheel study, the Women's Healthy Eating and Living Study. They took women, and some of them had a 13-hour window. Some of them had a greater than 13-hour window, and some of them had a lesser 13-hour window. And they tracked what they ate, and they ate the same diet in both groups. But the ones that had a 13-hour window had a 36% lower risk of cancer, just because they had a 13-hour window compared to women who didn't have a 13-hour window.
Wow.
Did you follow that?
Yeah. So
What we're saying here is the less frequently you eat, especially the less frequently you eat between the end of dinner and the start of breakfast. Now, your body is more insulin resistant. If you're going to eat light, it is better to probably eat an earlier dinner than it is to eat a later breakfast. So if you're going for the 13-hour window, it's probably better to try to eat dinner like 3, 4, 5 o'clock and then not eat any more the rest of the night. That's probably the best thing you could possibly do.
The bottom line is, Dr. Fuhrman, we have an unhealthy relationship with food.
Right.
And we just need to change our frame of mind. Can you give us a tip? Because I don't know if you've always eaten like this. I don't think I can't even imagine you eating or drinking a big gulp or a Big Mac. Not that I would advocate that, but have you ever had to train yourself from the mentality that you have to eat every 2 hours, which is what I was told because I'm hypoglycemic, that you have to eat frequently. And so I was trained like a little monkey to eat like this, Dr. Fuhrman. So what is your tip and advice to shift our frame of mind? Because it's kind of, we have an unhealthy relationship with food that's been since birth.
Right. Well, my mantra is the salad is the main dish. Most of what you eat should be raw vegetables with a nut and seed-based dressing. And then you have smaller amounts of the cooked foods. So you fill up, I just came back from the gym before this call. I had a big salad that had raw broccoli in it. It had a little shredded sweet potato raw in it. It had a lot of sprouts and different vegetables. It had a little bit of beans in it, and I had a little bit of a dressing on top made with nuts. And you know what? I couldn't eat that much. It made me too full. I probably didn't even take in enough calories. I probably didn't even take in 350 calories, but I had to push it away. I was getting too full. When you eat raw, it fills you up. It's very hard to overeat calories when you're eating so much raw food. So I just had a little mango and a little bit of what was in it? A little mango and berries, mango mixed with berries. I felt I didn't get enough calories and I was getting full from the meal. But I did all the stomach exercise. My stomach's contracted. My stomach's not stretched out. It's small. It can't fit that much food. It's very hard to overeat if you're eating right food. So if you can only overeat if you're taking oil and meat and bread and flour and sugar and molasses and honey and you're pouring calories in. You can't fit that many calories in when you're eating wild foods in their raw state. That's how you know with a degree of certainty that Skipper never really lived on that island.
Oh, okay. So speaking of Skipper, as you know, and I've heard you say on the show that it is unhealthy to do a fast when you are toxic. and that Dr. Fuhrman has the 10 and 20. Was it 10 and 20 detox?
Yeah, 20 and 20 weight loss. I have 10 and 20 diabetes book, and I have a 10 and 20. So I have the end of diabetes book, but the 10 and 20 diabetes booklet has like 21 days of the diabetic meal plans for them to follow, and what to shop, what to cook at each meal, what to eat at each meal. It goes into a little more depth in the menu plan than the book does, but you don't need that. You can get it all from the book if you just keep repeating and studying the book more. But it makes it easy for people. It gives them more menus and more recipes and more meals for that diabetic program. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, Dr. Fuhrman, I would love to maybe do a show on water fasting, doing a water fast or a juice fast or whatever, so that we can finally detox ourselves, so that we can finally feel hunger. I would love to do that with you in a future show. But before we go, because I want to respect and honor your time, before we go, I'd love for you to share with our group about the great news with your place in California. So for people who want to go, you can help them and embrace them with your healthy lifestyle. So would you like to share a little bit about your new location in California?
Yes, I opened up a retreat in a beautiful setting with a pool and, just gorgeous scenery and palm trees and fruit trees and vegetable gardens in California, so people can stay 4 to 12 weeks. So people have diabetes, or they're overweight, or they have heart disease, they can come to me and we can take care of them in the retreat, feed them the perfect diet, the most perfect diet in the world, and send them out cured of their diabetes, cured of their heart disease, off their blood pressure medications, off their drugs, so we can get them back to great health again. Because you know why? A lot of people out there are so food addicted that even when they learn the right information, they can't do it. They need to have somebody force them to do it. So by bringing them into the retreat, they're not tempted and they're not thrown in their cocaine den and people misdirecting and influencing them in a bad way. So we can retrain their taste buds, get them back in touch with true hunger again, teach them the science, show them it can taste delicious, and have them learn how to prefer this way of eating. It's like a drug addiction center for food addicts, so people can make a complete recovery and restore themselves to good health again. So I'm really excited about it, because now I have a place where if a doctor sees a patient with a really bad health condition, they can give them the option of saying, go to stay 8 weeks or 12 weeks with Dr. Fuhrman, because that's going to save your life.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else that you would like to add? Anybody else have a question that I can ask for you? Okay. So real quick, Dr. Fuhrman, because this is a big concern right now. There are several people that their blood sugar levels are going down during their sleep. A quick tip that they can do. I know you say lower the medication, and you have that in the book, but if you can give a tip, you said fire the doctor, lower your medication, anything that you can give a tip for those individuals so that they can encourage them to be able to sleep through the night without worrying about their blood sugar levels going real low. Is there anything that you can say other than
that if their blood sugars are going low at night, that's called medical malpractice.
Okay.
By your doctor. They're tremendously over-medicated and either taking the wrong medication or taking too much of the right medication. Okay. And if they don't, it's a great flag going up that they're being mismanaged.
Very good. Okay.
They should never have low blood sugars in the night. Never. They could do exercise and could be a little low, but have it at night, they're grossly over-medicated.
Okay. So what if that happens? Because that's a serious condition. Yes,
they got to cut the medications back. It's an emergency. Then they should never have it happen again. They should be reducing the medication the next day, and they should be discussing with a doctor how they should cut back.
If they wake up, let's say because they're now learning from you, Dr. Fuhrman, and they wake up tonight or yesterday they woke up and their blood sugar levels were 63. What is your advice to the spouse of that individual and how to bring that blood sugar up naturally or health at that moment? What's a tip for, when people are having a heart attack, you say raise your hand, you want to figure out different things, baby ask, whatever it is to help somebody get through that. What would be something good to give to an individual that has got low blood sugar and they're not hypoglycemic because they have too much medication?
Well, they should immediately cut back on the medication. But at the moment if they're feeling too ill and they can't sleep or rest and they're feeling too uncomfortable, they can have a banana or a piece of a banana or an apple or something like a piece of an orange or slivers of an orange, whatever they need to. They can have a piece of fruit to bring their sugar up a little bit. But that's not, I prefer they stop the over medication immediately, because that's forcing them to eat too much even when they shouldn't be eating in the middle of the night. They shouldn't be using juice and fruit to cover low blood sugars. That's completely mismanagement. They can do it once, just so they can until they can get not take the medication as much the next day. They do it one time, but never a second. But they shouldn't put themselves in that position again.
And for the guy that's not here, he had a meeting that he had to go to, and his blood sugar level was 62. Your advice is to get off the medication, but stay on the metformin.
Correct.
Okay.
Metformin does not cause a 62 blood sugar.
But eventually you want him off the metformin too.
No, I don't care about the metformin. Metformin doesn't push your sugar below 85. It can't push your sugar low. Even below 90, it doesn't lower your sugar that low. It just brings you down a little bit. It's like exercise. You can't become hypoglycemic from metformin alone. It has to be the other drug he's taking.
Okay. So last question. I know that people can find you at drfuhrman.com. You have a membership that people can ask you. Can you explain a little bit about that before we go?
Yes, I give people, myself and my medical staff, meaning Dr. Benson and I, give people specific advice on how to use the protocols to get well and how to lower the medications so they can bring that information back to their doctors and tell exactly what they should be doing. We give people careful and specific advice through the Ask the Doctor forum in the Members Center at drfuhrman.com. So if people want my specific guidance for their medical conditions, they can join the website at that level of membership that gives them the opportunity to communicate with me directly through the internet and my medical staff.
Okay.
So I have a member center with lots of different services, 2,000 recipes, forums, discussion groups, teleconferences, protocols, medical trackers, and I Ask the Doctor forum as well. So it's an option for them to work directly with me from anywhere in the world.
And how much is that a month, Dr. Fuhrman?
It's $7.99 for the general membership, and it's $49 a month, or about $50 a month, if they want to be able to communicate with me directly in the Ask the Doctor forum.
And that's $750 a year or $750 a month?
No, it's $8 a month at the general membership, $7.99 a month. But then they can have all the recipes and all the communications and all the forums. They could read my answers, but they can't post their own questions in the Ask the Doctor forum.
Okay.
That fee is $50 a month.
That's great. That's great. I don't think I've ever asked you that question, or maybe I have, but I just wanted you to state it again. Thank you, Dr. Fuhrman. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, let's hear for Dr. Fuhrman.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any last words of wisdom? Anything before you gotta go?
Yes. Enjoy your hunger, because hunger is the best sauce. And eat a salad. Make sure you eat a big salad every day. A big salad every day. A head of lettuce in every pot.
Eat a salad a day. Keep Dr. Fuhrman away.
All right. I like that one.
Okay, Dr. Fuhrman, thank you so much. We love you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Good luck, everybody.
So, how about that hunger pain, huh? That is